This is Valley News Live at 10.
Welcome to Valley News Live at 10. I'm Justin Betty.
And I'm Stacy Van Dyke. Drivers are dealing with slick roads tonight. We're getting reports that areas like Highway 200 from Hillsborough to Hallstatt and I-29 near Grand Forks are covered with a layer of ice due to freezing drizzle.
First Alert Team Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joins us now with your first look at the forecast. Hutch.
Well, thanks so much, you two, and good evening, everyone. And indeed, even here in the FM area, as I was heading out for dinner, I got some of that mist and drizzle on the windshield out there, and now temperatures are on their way down after we did warm into the low 30s today. So very icy conditions causing a lot of crashes out there on I-94 as we head into the evening hours as well. Notice the white line down near the bottom. That is the freezing line. So the northwest winds are now tugging in some cooler air. We're still very mild for this time of the year, mid-20s to near 30s out in the James River Valley. And the winds, you know what, they're just not as gusty as they were out to the west. The strongest of the winds, Sisseton into central Minnesota, where we do have gusts 20 to 35 miles per hour. But visibilities are down under 2 miles at times, mainly in the northern valleys where we're seeing the worst issues with that. A little bit of snow shower activity working its way through, but more developing in Winnipeg as that colder punch of air comes down tonight. So we're not out of the woods yet. Here's a batch of showers from Fisher and Crookston and parts of western Polk County right now, moving southeast with these gusty winds. We have a winter weather advisory for our Red River Valley counties as we go through the overnight hours until noon tomorrow for snow, for blowing snow, and for very icy travel conditions. We'll have your hour-by-hour forecast on this, and we'll look ahead toward the remainder of our work week and the weekend ahead here in just a few moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
That's a good idea to keep that VNL weather app handy for forecasts right at your fingertips. You can download it and use it for free. Just search VNL Weather in the App Store today. Tragedy this morning in South Fargo's. 2 people were killed in a house fire in the 1400 block of 2nd Avenue South.
Valley News Team's Alex Larson spoke to neighbors about the couple who lived at the home for decades.
They are real people, not just a statistic. It's just real people.
Lois Ellingson says she's known the victims for over 30 years.
Salt and pepper. You just never thought of one without the other. They were such a great couple together. They were so sweet.
She tells us the couple was elderly. The husband was showing signs of dementia, and the wife was having a hard time getting around.
He would help her so carefully walk out to the chairs in the backyard, and they'd sit, and pretty soon he'd be a little bit antsy, and he'd be down on his knees weeding, and I'm going, "You're 90, dude."
Ellingson says they were active parts of the community.
They were here, they had rental properties, they were landlords. They just, and it's somebody that has been here and knows the history of the block and watched it grow and change and morph and see families come and go.
She says the inseparable pair was always willing to help out their neighbors.
It's so hard, but they're together, and I can't picture them being apart, and I don't think one would have wanted to survive without the other.
Ellingson says when the scene was cleared, she went to thank one of the firefighters.
To know that he goes home at night saying to himself, like he said to me, if we could have been there a few minutes earlier.
Firefighters said they had a particularly hard time battling this blaze.
The content was blocking paths, and it made it difficult to get in the house, and so then we have to use other means, like windows or other doors or that type of stuff.
2 firefighters fell into a hole in the floor of the house, but were able to get out. The home also partially collapsed, which slowed down the search inside. Tonight, Ellingson is mourning the 2 bright lights lost this morning.
There isn't any way to change it. There isn't any way to make it different, but they do make an immeasurable difference for all of us.
Alex Larson.
The cause of that fire is still under investigation. The names of the victims haven't been released. We now know the name of a man who died in a Valley City house fire. 65-year-old Anthony Joe Mitchell was found in the lower level of the home on the city's southeast side. That happened early Sunday morning. Fire crews say there was so much fire and smoke when they got there, they weren't able to enter the home and search for residents. An autopsy is being completed.
We have an update on a child who was hospitalized after she was had severe head trauma. The family telling us that the 2-month-old is now at home recovering in Valley City. Court documents say Barnes County deputies were called by Sanford Hospital in Fargo on Saturday after an infant came in with what appeared to be extensive injuries from non-accidental trauma. Documents state Justin Gibson became frustrated with her the crying and admitted to tossing the child. He now faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted. A coach at Fargo South High School has been fired for inappropriate communication with a student. The district confirming that Fabrice Nolan was let go on Monday. In a letter to Nolan dated yesterday, Principal Todd Bursch writes that Nolan had a personal exchange with a student on Snapchat that the school considers inappropriate, disturbing, and unprofessional. End quote. No, we don't know what exactly was sent. The school adds Nolan was told 2 previous times this school year not to communicate with students for personal reasons on social media and to maintain professional boundaries. He's also fired from both his roles as the assistant football coach and 9th grade boys basketball coach.
Now to the latest on our Valley News Live investigation. Since last Tuesday, we've received at least 20 tips into our whistleblower hotline saying a staff member within the Barnesville School District was overheard by a student at recess having an inappropriate conversation with another student.
We went to work to gather information for you, sending at least 2 emails to the superintendent, John Ellerbush, followed by a phone call, which at this hour all have gone unanswered.
So we went to the school this morning where we were greeted by Mr. Ellerbush, who didn't want to appear on camera and chose to record the interview himself. During the interview, Mr. Ellerbush confirmed an investigation surrounding an inappropriate conversation between a 5th grade student and a staff member started last Wednesday.
He says the investigation lasted 2 days in which they interviewed all parties involved. Mr. Ellerbush told us after 2 days of investigating, they made the decision to close the case and not discipline the staff member.
We received another statement just a couple hours ago from a concerned parent who didn't want to be identified, saying, in part, I'm disappointed with the lack of communication from the superintendent and the school board.
Today, Mr. Ellerbush also told us the parents of the students involved were informed of the school's decision not to discipline the staff member this past Monday.
And as we told you, the story has been keeping us busy on our whistleblower hotline. If you have a tip that you'd like us to investigate, you can leave it by calling the number on your screen.
New at 10, a federal grand jury is investigating the 2018 death of an inmate in the Beltrami County Jail. Hardell Sherrill suffered for days and pleaded for help before dying, while his jailers and many of his care providers believed he was faking it. News of the grand jury investigation comes 1 day after the state medical board suspended the doctor responsible for Sherrill's care. His name is Todd Leonard, calling his actions egregious. Judge Ann O'Reilly, who reviewed the case and found Leonard as the medical director of the Beltrami County Jail, quote, demonstrated a careless disregard for the health, welfare, and safety of his patient, end quote. A woman from Tennessee sent us a story about a Fargo business going above and beyond to help her 2-year-old.
Her child has lost his favorite stuffed fox named Pox. She says she tried everything to find it, but no luck. It was discontinued. So finally, someone on Facebook found a Pox here in Fargo. She reached out to Hurley's Religious Goods, and they were going to overnight her a toy when she found the original Pox hiding in her house. But then she got a surprise.
I am like practically in tears. But they sent this picture. Look at this. Look at this. A picture of a fox, and on the back, it says, we were very excited that you found your friend Pox and thought you and Pox would like another friend.
Hurley's Religious Goods in Fargo sent her that card. All the employees signed it and a stuffed elephant.
You can watch their full story on our website or on our free VNL News app. It's a cool story. Still ahead tonight, we'll show you how the weather in our winter cold could cause some problems from mailed COVID-19 test kits as they sit outside in those frigid conditions.
And in weather, we are looking at some reduced visibilities as we go through with increasing wind and a few flakes continuing to fly in northwest Minnesota horizontally in the wind. We're not done yet. The first alert weather day continues into your Thursday morning. Extremely icy conditions, and I'll have the latest in your updated forecast right after this.